Ryan Little.
Morning, y'all! It's a bank holiday Monday here in the UK, so basically that means it's a holiday. But Team Crossfield has gone to London to see relatives, so I've been left on my own. Poor me. So I'm gonna work today in the blooming sun and all. So there's loads of good blades being released at the minute. You'll see lots of reviews coming on my channel. I already have. Question, would you ever consider using blades? And then also, how big do you think the drop off is in performance over like a game improvement iron if you downed it in the middle? Comments down below. Hit that comment section up. Let me know what you think. Right, today's swing, we're going to talk a little bit about a stationary body and kind of the issues it can cause. If we watch this player, no waggles at the start, literally just sat over the ball, which we'll talk a little bit about. Makes a backswing, shoulders seem to move, hips don't seem to, club then just flops behind him, and then the follow through, feet glued to the ground, arms buckle, with a very half-hearted follow through. We need to try and get golfers like this trying to understand that their body can really help them make better contact, can help them pick up some speed, get better height, better launches. It's just kind of, sometimes it's about letting these people kind of release the anxiety of just trying to kind of put the club on the ball. Let's show you what I mean. Right, first idea is to try and loosen this guy up, get him moving his body a bit more, get some speed into that game. Excuse all the clubs, I'm having a bit of a sort out. So I want you to hit a few shots, so just get a wedge or something, and then what I want you to do is do a backswing, you pick your left foot up, forward swing, you pick your right foot up. Hit a few shots with your lower half moving around. You'll feel weights transferring, you'll feel your pressure in the ground moving around. You'll get a feeling for coordinating, pressure going back, pressure going forwards as one foot comes off and the next foot comes off. Great way to loosen you up a bit. So obviously remember, if my body halts on the way through, stops, my arms have got to give way to try and get the club to go beyond me. Obviously Spieth gives way and he's got plenty of rotation. Don't confuse that movement with this. That's very different for him. This is so much more about trying to get this player to think of golf in a more athletic way. Next thing I do with them as well, which is brilliant, is try to get them to hit 3 swings in a row with the last swing hitting a ball. So you can literally just do kind of 3/4 movements, 1, 2, and then you'll step forward to hit the ball. So let's pretend you've got your ball, put it on the ground, on your range mat, on your practice base, stand just inside of it. 1, 2, and then step in and hit. You ask any decent ball striker, any decent player, I mean, I've seen this from kind of 15 handicap down, as long as they've got some coordination, this isn't that hard to do, and they're always amazed with how good the shots are. For golfers who have not tried this, more anxious ones who lock their body down, a bit like this player possibly, this is a great way to loosen up, to think of golf as more of a dynamic, moving sport. Where I see so many amateurs thinking, because they watch, I think magazines have failed for it for a long time, haven't they? And I think even YouTube videos are just still failing at it, in my opinion. Talking about trying to get in the right position. There are so many different right positions and they're player specific. You've got to be dynamic, you've got to be able to move, you've got to be able to coordinate. This is a great opening drill to get you doing some of those things. I'm escaping on the bike.
This is a Ryan Little production.
Let's answer your questions.
Right, wedge choices I always think is really overthought, and that often comes from the amount of options out there, because I think it makes a club that doesn't really get purchased that much become more desirable. So I think the options are often there just to try and kind of confuse you into thinking you need a different one. That being said, some of the things you want to think about obviously is distances when it comes to loft, so making sure you get the right gaps around your pitching wedge or gap wedge through to your sand wedge. So for instance, if you use a 60-degree lob wedge and then you go to a 52, you might find that's too big a gap, so you might want to go 60, 56, 50, 50 in your gap. I've got a 50-degree gap because it fits into the distance I want it to go. I want it to go up to kind of 117 and drop back to 90 yards if I want a lower one. Now when it comes to bounce, I think that one again is really overthought, because as soon as you start manipulating that face, turning it, adding loft, taking loft off, you're changing the bounce on that club. So getting set with a bounce, like you said on your sandwich, is fine if you only use it out of bunkers, dog. But obviously then if you're going to chip and kind of hit other shots with that club, then you might find that the bounce is changing as you manipulate the loft around, and your kind of angle of attacks to shaft leans to knot will change, which will always change the bounce. Your rule of thumb, you know, if you're on kind of tight lies, you want less bounce, and if you're in fluffy lies, you want a bit more bounce. But who plays off the same lies every time? I think it's about gapping the distances more than anything else. Right, next drill, I'm going to use some of the clubs I've been photographing. It's just clubs everywhere in a minute. Right, so I'm going to pick up 3, and I'm going to pick up 3 that have been hit. In fact, I'm going to pick up 4. And they've all been hits, don't worry about them clanking. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab hold of them together. You can be split hands together makes this harder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and move them, swing them. And what you're going to find when you start moving heavier things around your body in a golf swing way is it makes a lot of sense to start using your body, not just swing your arms or it pulls your shoulders. I used to do this with kind of weighted clubs for people and film the difference of the looks of their swing. If you split hand it, it's a little easier. Basically try and get those clubs moving by kind of really bouncing in and out of your legs, turning your hips, turning your shoulders, and getting everything turning together and syncing. So if I just swing my arms, it kind of pulls a little bit down my right side. Kind of makes it feel like it might do a bit of damage to my body. It won't, it's safe as long as you don't go too heavy. But what it will do is get you the feeling of how you should be using your knees, your hips, your legs, your back. Get everything moving. The more you do this, kind of indoors in the garden, the more you'll find that you'll start to understand how your body needs to get involved, rather than just swiping those arms at it. Last drill I use with all students who struggle with this. They don't always equate it to a golf swing, but it does get them turning differently. It's one arm swings. You can do this indoors or at the range with a club, trying to even hit balls. But lots of golfers do find that quite hard and then get a bit upset that the ball doesn't go up in the air. And I like this to happen a lot through the week, all weeks, like 2 minutes a day, just to get the feel of it. So left hand behind your back, right hand, just pretend you've got a golf club in it and start swinging one-handed imaginary shots. But you've got to try and get your left pocket turning, rotating ahead of your right arm, delivering down at this imaginary ball. So feel like your hips go first. So much easier when you're just trying to think about the order. So this goes first, a real rotation with your lower half before your hand gets to the imaginary hit. When there's a ball not in the way, when there's no targets putting you off, or hazards, bunkers, water, those kind of things, where people get paralysed and want to just throw their arms at it. It's a great way to get a feeling of syncing up your body. And I would even do this on the range, so practice swing one arm again, feeling like the hips go first, then both hands on, hit a shot, trying to recreate that feeling. Now when I do this in lessons, it changes people, but they get bored. They just want to hit shots, so they stop doing it, and I have to keep reminding them to do it. The ones who really succeed with this movement, change it, are the ones who do the 2 minutes every day at home for the week or 2 weeks. They come back, see massive improvements. Oh, dinner for one. I forgot an ingredient. Bear with. Forgot the wine. Right, I've put my happy hat on to try and keep me going. Going to cook tea for one. See you all tomorrow. I'm on my own again tomorrow, but it's a normal working day tomorrow, so it might be a little less morbid. See you tomorrow.